everyone, and welcome back to Building Nations. In the last episode, we made a decent bit of progress around the outside here, getting in these nice little rocks to kind of support the building, and they look absolutely amazing, which is wonderful. In this episode, I think it's going to be time to get rid of these blue walls and start working out some of the transitions here, walking-wise, what the floor is going to look like, and where some more detailed things are going to go here, so it's not just grass, because that would be kind of lame. So, I'm not sure what exactly I'm going to do, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. Alright, so even from the beginning, I knew I kind of wanted to reduce the terrain here a little bit, because everything up until this point had all been on one layer from the entrance, so that's why I kind of knocked the floor down there, just to kind of make it a bit more interesting. And then with this staircase, I wanted it to feel more natural, kind of organic, so I just remodeled that into a hill, and then put the staircase on that, with the little retention wall in there as well, because then, you'd have a retention wall to stop the dirt from pulling onto the staircase. So, there's that. And then, from there, I wasn't exactly sure what else I wanted to do, but I had an idea to put a sort of pedestal sort of thing next to it, just like a circular thing, which would make the staircase have walls on both sides, which helps it look good, I think, and it would just add some interest to looking in this area. So I came up with this design, but then looking at it from a bunch of different angles, it didn't seem right. And that was because the two sides weren't exactly even. Like the towers with the bridges supporting the gates weren't evenly spaced, which is why I knocked out a corner of one, which then allowed me to make the pedestal thing a sort of even circle. And then I made a similar staircase with a similar retention wall, but they're not the exact same because of the difference in the towers. So, in case you were wondering about that. And then, I just walked around a bit. I decided to go, originally I was going to put like a statue or something on the pedestal. Then, later I changed my mind on that. I decided that it would be a better idea to do something with less height, just because the pedestal itself is already kind of obscured when you look at it from a distance, so I didn't want whatever on top of it to be obscured as well. You'd have to kind of look really high up to be able to see it if you're on the ground, which I didn't want. So I just changed that idea. But before then, I decided to put gravel, cobblestone, and some coarse dirt for the ground, and that will stay consistent throughout. But what I did decide to do here is add in a tree, but a tree made of fences. It's a small tree, not a big tree. Stuck some flowers, some grass down, then water, and I hoed some of the area to make it farmland. Okay, then this was kind of an interesting decision. So we had this tower in the middle that didn't really do anything. In fact, it did so little that I actually didn't put an interior in it when I did all of the other interiors a while ago, because it was just so unimportant. It doesn't connect to anything except that one wall, so I just kind of ignored it. But now, I've given it a purpose. I figured the big grass area beneath this is very open, so I wanted to kind of close it in a bit, make it seem more like you're inside the castle and not like you're just kind of walking between two buildings. So I added in this little connector between them. It was supposed to be kind of like a tower coming off of that roofed building down there, but it didn't really work out that way, so I'll have to make some modifications to the interior there for that to work. And then I decided to connect it to this building also. I made a little walkway instead of the roof, added in a window, and connected it into the tower there, which also gives that tower more purpose. Not the one on the left, but the one on the right. Gives it more purpose, makes it do more, because previously it was just like a staircase between two buildings, right? So adding this in makes it better. I stuck a ladder inside to get down and up, because there's no way I could fit a staircase in the roof. Uh, so ladder to do that. And then this walkway is done. So I had to figure out how I wanted to get from the ground up to the second level, because I don't know what I was planning originally, but I changed my mind on it. So I did the same thing I did before, carved out a hill, and I'm making this gravel and slab staircase, which looks really nice. It's a nice texture. Doing the same thing with a retention wall, and then I just kind of curved it around to make that little triangle shaped thingy, and then there's a staircase on that, and it looks great. So again, there was kind of a need to fill some space. Just because of the way the terrain was, it didn't even nicely. Like, I suppose I could have flattened this whole raised area, instead of putting trees in. I could have flattened it, but I didn't, and I think the trees look better anyway. So, stuck 2 trees in, coarse dirt and podzol for the ground in the little planter, adding some grass to make it look a bit nicer as well. And looking around, it looks pretty good. I like it a lot. So then I decided to go back here and fill in the gravel floors all around the place, adding in cobblestone and a little bit of coarse dirt, not a whole lot. I'm not sure why. I think I saw someone somewhere do coarse dirt in the ground. I don't remember who, but definitely not an original idea. But it looks really good, so I'm glad I did that. And then in that little area as well, I added in a tree. I think I was planning on it being a walkway at some point, but it was just too small and the shape was just too wrong, so it just didn't really work out too well. Okay, this area is kind of weird. It's just a big space of grass with where it's increasing the whole time on a gradient. And while that does look good in some cases, the sort of like curved shape of the terrain forming like waves almost doesn't really look that nice to make like a walkway through. Like people are supposed to be moving through here, and the shapes don't really allow for traffic to flow well, I think, in my opinion. So I decided to go with that originally. I filled it in, but then later I kind of changed my mind about it and added in that little wall, which sort of directs the flow a lot better from the place with the arch over it into that door. So I added in that wall, and then detailed it in the same way. Added in a door to connect to that tower, which gives it even more usefulness, and added in some supporting pillars to the wall to make that little floating bit not as floating anymore. And then, because I figured that there was a little too much space in the walkway, I added in yet another little planter thing with a tree. It's so useful, and it looks really good. So maybe I'll do that more. I don't know. I think I have enough though. Three is quite enough. So there's that. Same sort of detailing on all that stuff. And then here, the same thing with the gravel. I added it in. I was trying to figure out a way of detailing the floating wall that's here as well. Because I went with the same sort of design with the andesite on the bottom and on top with walls, but they couldn't be evenly spaced because of the way the buildings were. So that was a problem. So I decided to try and like knock out some of it and move them forward and then create like little arches between them, which looks really nice. I might go back and do that to the first one, but probably not just because of what I do next. So I saw that the wall connecting the useless tower to the grand hall was really thin, and this gravel floor is on the same level as the gravel floor I made there. So I wanted to connect them, but I didn't want it to just be straight across because that's kind of boring. So I made that section elevated, added in a staircase, and then added in a little staircase between them. Alright, and with that, all of these nice gravel floors are in place. You can walk around the stairs and just kind of enjoy the castle experience now. And it looks so much better having these in here. It's so nice to have this terrain sort of modeled out. I know what's going on, where it's going on. I have this nice little walkway here just to make everything look better, and it's a very nice experience. Walking around here is made so much more interesting by adding these floors instead of just the grass. So I'm glad I did that. These tree features also add a lot, I think. Like, there are a lot of times where it's just massive open space, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna put there. But, just like separate apart an area, stick some trees in, and then there you go. It's done. And it looks really good, so that's helpful. Because if it looked bad, then that wouldn't be good. But yeah, looks good. We can enjoy walking around here and have a fun time. What I still need to do though, obviously there is no detail on any of these buildings, but even without that, the fact that I added in this gravel stuff makes it look more done anyway. Like, you can do a before and after if you go back to the start of the video, where there's just grass, and it looks like unfinished, but now that the gravel's here, it still looks unfinished, but it looks significantly more finished than it did before. So, that's pretty cool. And yeah, I think with that, I'm going to leave this here. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Leave a comment on any feedback you have for me, and I'll see all of you later. Bye.